And allow me to just introduce Professor Safary Mbaleka to us. He is the director of the Adventist University of Africa Online, which is located in Ongata Rongai, Nairobi. And he's specialized in the fields of online education, curriculum, and instruction, applied linguistics, and qualitative research. He obtained a PhD in online education from Capella University in the USA. He holds 2 doctorates and 2 master's degrees from the USA and 1 additional master's degree from the Philippines. He has worked with online education for 17 years in different capacities: online course designer, online course facilitator, director of online instructional design, instructional designer, and now he's the director of online education at AUA. Currently, he's one of the lead architects of the standards and guidelines for online education as mandated by the Kenya's Commission of University Education, commonly known as CUE. He's also a prolific author of books and journal articles, some on online education. He has authored and co-authored more than 40 journal articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals, and more than 10 books, including the recent one, Planning and Delivering Quality Online Education. I think this was launched two or 3 weeks ago. Also, Fear No More, authored in 2020. Yeah, it's the same book. He has delivered several conference presentations, research seminars, and training around the Philippines, the USA, Portugal. Yes, today we are having the webinar at 11 o'clock because he informed me that he'll be speaking in Portugal at 3 o'clock. Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, Bahamas, Malaysia, Italy, Singapore, and Thailand, amongst others. So that is our keynote speaker for today. We can all see that he's very accomplished in the matters online learning, and therefore we are truly, truly honored to have you, Professor Safary Mbaleka, as our guest speaker for today, so that you can shed light on these online matters, so that we're better able to understand them even as we continue to teach our students. Professor Mbaleka, this is the opportunity now. This is the St. Paul's University community, and basically all the attendees are St. Paul's University staff. Welcome, welcome very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I just need a confirmation that you can hear my voice, because with this technology, sometimes you think you are talking, but nobody's hearing you. Ms. Grace, can you confirm you hear my voice?
Yes, yes, we can hear you loud and clear, and we can also see
Very
you.
good.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much for that very warm welcome. I take it as an honor and privilege to be invited to speak to my colleagues. I see 131 people. That's quite a large number. I don't know if they all come from the same university. If you do, that's amazing. It must be an extremely huge university. And for that, I want to thank Ms. Grace for the invitation, for being here this morning. It is quite timely for us to talk about online education. But before I can do this, let me see if I can get this PowerPoint out there, because I've been using other platforms. This is the first time I'm using Google Meet. And so let me see if I can get that out there. It says at this point, it should be out. Let's see. Once it's there, can you see my screen yet?
Yes, we can see your screen, but you're yet to upload the presentation.
Oh boy.
There we are.
Okay, now you can see it?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much for confirming that. Today I've been asked to talk about online and versus face-to-face teaching. I struggled to think about this and see what will I focus on, especially that if you have been teaching online for the last 8 years, as I've just heard, you basically have developed your own strategies. You have your own best practices that you're using that work perfectly with you. And when we talk about online teaching, unlike maybe the face-to-face teaching, it is directly linked to the design of the courses. And so I was struggling to delimit exactly what we are going to focus on. So whatever we are not able to cover in the next maybe 1 hour, please write that in the chat place, and I'm going to try to cover that when it is time to discuss this. I want to start with this story that some of you have heard. It is a story to me that tells us exactly who we are. It is a story of a man who owned a donkey, and the donkey was becoming really, really old. And when it became so old that the donkey could not help him anymore, he said, okay, I think I'm going to just drop it in a pit and then just bury it there, and then that's it. So he pulled the donkey, took it to this place. He had dug a hole where he was going to bury this donkey. He was going to bury it alive because he couldn't bear to see it killing it. So he started pouring dirt inside the hole. And as he was doing this, the donkey became smart. Whenever the dirt would come down, the donkey will shake the dirt off and start going up. And this went on, and the owner didn't know what was happening. When he finished, he thought he was done burying the donkey. The donkey was up there standing and staring at him. This story, when I first heard it several years ago, I have kept it in my mind that it applies so many times to so many situations that we find ourselves in. And right now, the situation we're in is the COVID-19, and everybody thinks that online education is the solution for education, for higher education, specifically for universities. We have two choices. We can decide to close completely, like many universities around the world, which is exactly what this donkey would have done, and just lie down until it is buried completely. Or we can decide to shake that dirt off, this uncertainty that is happening all around the world in all domains, not just education, and shake that dirt of COVID off and say, this is the opportunity that we have been waiting for to strengthen our online education. So I'm hoping that we are going to shake that dirt off, and we will strengthen our online education in St. Paul University, and it will become one of the leading universities in online education in the country, if it's not already there. I want to talk about this verse. Since this is a Christian university, that means it will be a lot easier for us to discuss. And that is in Hosea 4 verse 6, that says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Other versions will tell you, because of lack of knowledge, my people perish. Some versions will even describe it as wisdom. When we lack wisdom, we'll find that the people of the Lord are going to perish. And so many of the institutions today are going to actually close for quite some time because of lack of wisdom, because of lack of knowledge. But the good thing is that with the leadership of your order, you don't want to be among those who are going to perish. You definitely want to be the head and not the tail, as we read. So Let's dive into this. I have decided to look at the difference between the two from 7 different perspectives. But before we do that, let's look at the problem. The problem is that there are closures of educational institutions all around the world. This is happening everywhere in the world. It's not just Kenya. There is limited experience with online education. I know some of you, even with the 130 plus that we have here, some of you may have never actually taught an online course. I hope I'm not exaggerating. And some of you are so comfortable with the online education. And we have now that spectrum, some who are really, really good and others who are not, who are beginners. There's limited technical infrastructures in many universities, but I think with St. Paul University, you don't have that problem. But this is a serious issue, especially on the continent. I remember giving a webinar with the Association of African Universities just a couple months ago. And everybody was saying, we do not have the infrastructures. Our internet is very, very bad. And the students, most of them don't even have access to internet at home. So this is part of the challenge that we're facing. There's limited time to design quality online courses. And in fact, in the literature, even in the practice, in the research, it is proven that a class to design a quality online class, 3 credits, which is the general number of credits, it takes 100 clock hours. 100 clock hours to design a course. So if we have just 2 weeks to move online because there's COVID shut down, you can just imagine that nobody has that number of hours. We have, everybody's looking at online education as the only solution. Unfortunately, as Madam Grace said, some of the things we've been doing face-to-face, we think that we'll do it exactly the same way online. And before you know it, students start dropping out, students start giving complaints everywhere to the administration that they're not learning or they're frustrated with what is happening. It's because people did not get the training, the proper preparation for that. I remember being invited once, just a few years ago, by a university in the Philippines. I was still in the Philippines, just moved here just a little less than a year ago. And they had told me that they wanted me to come and give just a 2-hour presentation just like this, because they wanted some consultancy services from me. And we needed to have something so that I can share with them what is needed and so on. And when I got there, I was told by the one who invited me, who happened to have come originally from Nigeria, and said, no, people here, they believe they are doing online. I said, so what? They don't actually have a learning management. They don't have any learning management system, and everything that they do it on Google Groups. I mean, on Yahoo Groups. They just upload all the files that they have been using face-to-face, and that's it. That is online education. And the students can spend the rest of the semester without ever going up there, and at the end of the semester, they pass the class. I said, well, this is going to be a terrible experience because they have already this wrong mindset about online education. And so trying to change that can be quite a challenge. But what we're talking about when we say online education, we're talking about quality online education, the real thing, not what people are just imagining or counting on their common sense only. So we're going to look at the difference between the two from a definition of, first of all, I'm going to define online education. Then we're going to look at the role of the lecture, online and face-to-face. So, where do we find the difference? Then we look at the role of the learners. We look at the technology, the interaction, the instructions, the quality, and then I'm going to end with a quick best online teaching practices, just so that we can get maybe a little clearer picture of what is expected when we are teaching online. So the definition, we start with the definition. I always say that when we talk about online education, we need to have a paradigm shift component. That we don't just talk about online education as something that I'm going to do exactly what I was doing with face-to-face and I'm going to do it online, because it doesn't work like that. This is the reason why one of the things that I've been struggling with in our work with the CUE in creating this evaluation tool is the heavy, extremely heavy control that Kenya has on summative evaluation, and that's we're going to talk about that next week, where we want to control students so much. To me, that paradigm means by default we believe our students are cheaters. Even if they are in a good university, Christian university like St. Paul, we believe by default, before they even come to our school, they are cheaters. To me, that is a wrong mindset, especially if we want to bring that to online, because let's face it, it is true that we can control things with technology, but that's not how learning happens online. But that has been a serious, interesting discussion that we have had. But we need to know that when we're going online, we are going to have to change the mindset. It's a paradigm shift, and we need to do things the way online education is done. The technology component must, of course, be part of that. Unfortunately, some people, when they hear about online education, they believe that the first thing to think about is technology, but no, it should not be. It's actually the first one, the paradigm shift. How do we deliver education, quality education to people without seeing them face? The next one is teaching and learning component. How is it different from face-to-face and online? And we're going to look at that. The interaction, how do we make sure that the online students are not isolated? Because you have students coming from many different countries. I remember my last course, doctoral course I taught online in the US was made of like 10 students coming from 10 different countries spread over 6 continents. I could not believe it. And so of some people to be 1 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m., and to others it will be like 10 p.m. And so you could not have synchronous meetings, for example. And the good thing in the US is that they are already at that level where if it's a fully online course, you don't need to have synchronous meetings. But I know here it's like, we still want to have that. And so we're going to eventually get there sometime. Here's the definition as it comes out from my book. What is online education? It's a type of education that requires teaching and learning to depend on the internet for quality. And I want to underline the word quality education, because if it is not quality education, we should not call it online education. It should be quality education. What we are offering online should have the same quality as what we're offering face-to-face. And I always even push that it should be even a little better than what we are offering face-to-face. And the people who are new to online, they say, oh, come on, that's not possible. You cannot do things that are better online than face-to-face. Let me say this, and I've said this in many different on different platforms. With the 2 doctorates that I have, the first one was fully face-to-face, maybe a couple of classes that were online, and the second one was fully online. Today, if I'm publishing a lot of books and the journal articles, trust me, they came from my second doctorate that was fully 100% online. I've never even been to the main campus of the university. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen, especially if there are proper training, proper support from the administration, and cooperation from the faculty. It definitely is possible. So it is a type of education that requires teaching and learning to depend on the internet for quality education to happen. And even the educator and learners are separated by time and geographic location. So online courses are open 24 hours. Because they are not, the whole reason why people are going online is because they don't want to meet at the same time in the same place every week, like a couple of days a week. We want people to be able to study any time of the day, depending on the schedule that works for them. So why do we need online education? Gives flexibility. People can take or teach anytime. It saves time. Why? Because you can imagine, I don't know about your many campus, how the traffic is there. For us who are here, part of Nairobi, even here in Rongai, boy, just about 3 kilometers, sometimes I spend 1 hour and a half to go through Rongai. From one side, if I'm headed to Nairobi, I have spent 1 hour and a half in a distance of 3 kilometers. But online, guess what? I've just saved that. So if I do round trip to Nairobi to go to a university there and spend three hours every day round trip, those 3 hours I could definitely save that. It is actually much more affordable. And here I'm not talking about the price per credit. No, I still believe that the cost per credit should be more for online education than face-to-face. That is also a whole different discussion that I'm also having with the CUE. It's been quite interesting because they said, no, the online courses should be cheaper, per credit should be cheaper. I said, no, it should be more because there's a lot more that is happening. But even if it is more per credit, it is still a bigger saving for the students. Why? They don't have to pay money for travel every day. In our case here at the Adventist University of Africa, they don't even have to fly in because our university caters to students from all over the continent. So they fly in. I would say maybe 80% of our students come from outside of Kenya. So they have to fly in every year and they have to pay the rent from us. They have to have another kitchen here, obviously, because their wives or husbands cannot deliver food for them from Nigeria and Ghana and South Africa. And so all these things, when you put the whole package together, the flights, the visas, and so on, you find that even if the credit is a little bit more, it is still a bigger saving if you look at the whole package, not just looking at the cost of the credit. It is, of course, best for COVID-19 all around the world. Everybody is trying to move online. And it is a good thing for the faculty, the lecturers, because we facilitate learning. The students take the lead of their learning. We are there to guide them rather than trying to lecture them what we do in face-to-face. I definitely like online education. It enhances the computer literacy skills. And we know that it's a part of the 21st century skills. And so students at the beginning may have issues with the computers, but by the time they get the middle or end of the program, they will have developed the needed computer literacy skills that they will need even in the workplace. I remember right now, my oldest student that I taught in the last 8 years when I was in the Philippines, I had a student who was 67 years old who had just arrived from Zimbabwe. And when she arrived at our university, I thought she was a mother visiting one of our students. Just like our university here, our university there, which are sister universities from the same system, church system, they cater to only master's and doctoral programs. And so I had thought that she had come for one of her children, and only to hear later on that she was actually coming for her master's degree in public health. And she had just retired from teaching. The thing is that one of the courses I taught was academic writing, and so she had to take academic writing. I remember her coming to my class, and she said she doesn't have any email address. She doesn't know how to create an email. She doesn't know how to send an email. She doesn't know how to upload a document. The only technology that she knew was how to use WhatsApp, either to text or to call. And here she was coming to university where technology was extremely integrated in the teaching, because even for the face-to-face classes, they were blended classes where we have face-to-face and then we have online activities. But you know what? By the time I left last year, she had completed most of her coursework, and I think 4 of her courses, she did them fully online. She would come to my office. She adopted me as a son. I adopted her as my mom. I would tell her, you come every time you need help. And by the time I left, she was an expert in computers. Like, I mean, as far as learning is concerned, not necessarily fixing computers, but as far as using computers for different assignments, she had become really, really, really good. So definitely online education helps with that. And last, when we design quality online courses, we are creating what do we call reusable learning objects. The course that I have designed, somebody else, if it is designed properly, of course, if I get sick or I move on to another university, another person can come and teach that class perfectly, no problem. But guess what? With the face-to-face, the moment I leave, most of the things that I have, I go with that, and that's it. If somebody else comes, they will have to start from scratch. And so definitely online education has many benefits. So let's look at the role of the lecturer. I want to start with a common ground. Whether you are online or face-to-face, the OE is for online education, F2F for face-to-face education. If you are, whether you are face-to-face or online, you need to prepare for your class. And you need to teach your class. And you need to assess students and grade those papers, especially university students or teaching. We have to grade a lot of things. So these are common things. Whatever platform you're in on, you will have to deal with those 3. But where do we find some differences? Let's go to online. We have to fully prepare the course before day 1. In fact, the night before the class starts, I can be asked to give my class to somebody else. That person should be able to lead that class as if they were the ones who designed it, if it isn't designed properly. But on face-to-face, we prepare throughout the semester. We know, I know probably those people are not on this platform right now, but we know people who will not even have the final exam or the instructions for their different assignments. And so on, I'll give them a week before they are due. But guess what? For online education, no, that has to be done before day 1. So when the students log in, they can see the whole course. Of course, that is also another point of discussion. Some people say, no, we should just release 1 module every week. I believe, especially because I've been probably teaching only at the master's and doctoral level, where people are extremely busy, they need to see the whole course from the day 1. So if that's going to happen, we need to design the course fully from before day 1. Another difference, we have more student support for online education. Because if we don't have that support, guess what? Students are going to drop out. They are going to complain. They are going to have a hard time. In face-to-face, it's like it's a little less support, I think, because students can just ask that question face-to-face right there. So when we are online, not only do we need support for the technology, which is a big one, but we need support on the faculty support. When a student is struggling, okay, I don't understand these instructions, they send an email or WhatsApp message. The faculty should be there to respond quickly. Unlike the face-to-face, we have had lecturers who spend 1 whole week without responding to students' emails, although it's not a good practice, but it actually happens, and it won't be as devastating as the students who are online. We need knowledge of online education, both in the learning and the teaching theories, because yes, we have probably some overlap on the theories, both for face-to-face and online, but you'll find that certain theories work much better online than face-to-face, and some work better on face-to-face than online. For example, in face-to-face, in many universities, we will have actually more lecture than like class discussions and cooperative learning maybe. But online, we want to have a lot more student-centered learning. than face-to-face. That's a given, because we will not be lecturing live to the students. We will be relying on them getting involved on what is happening, what is already there in the content. Knowledge of learning and teaching theories for the face-to-face is what we do there. But now the last one is more technology dependent when it comes to online education. Basically, if somebody doesn't know how to write using computers, uploading files, posting messages and things like that, they will have to learn that for them to be able to to teach online. While face-to-face, I think we all still know today, a lot of professors, a lot of lecturers, maybe they are old generation, who do not have an email address. And if they have an email address, they don't remember the password of that email address. I'm sure each one of us knows at least one like that. This will not happen with the online education. With the online education, we will have to make sure that people have the basic knowledge of some technology. We're not saying that people should know how to create web pages and do extensive coding and things like that, no, but how to navigate the learning management system. Let's look at the learners. I believe that in online, if the course is designed properly, again, please understand that when I'm talking about online education here, I'm talking about quality online education, because it is true that we have terrible online courses where the student shows up only the last 2 days of class and does everything, and that's it, and they are done, and they pass actually the class. This is not going to happen in what we qualifies as online education course. No, the quality online education courses, the students are expected to be much more active in learning. You say, how so? A course that is properly designed for online education, they will have requirements for a minimum number of postings that students have to make every week. And those postings will actually count towards their final grade. And the moment you have that, you'll find that more students are going to discuss, to get involved in this than face-to-face. We know classes where you have 30 students in one class, where at the end of the day, you'll have maybe 8 or 10 of them who have spoken, and 20 of them did not say a single word. And this will go on for one whole semester, while this is something that can never happen with online. The other thing is that because the online courses are open 24 hours, it is possible for students to get involved anytime. They are not limited by time as we do face-to-face. Well, face-to-face, we have less learning, active learning, because of the limitation of time. Online education students have to be highly self-motivated, because if they are not, they are going to fail. And this is the reason why whenever I'm asked, what do you think about having online classes for elementary, primary school children? I say, I don't believe so, because they do not have this. They do not have the highly self-motivated skill. The face-to-face, yes, they have to still be self-motivated, but not at the same level as online education students. Sorry about that. We need excellence in management with online, both for the teachers and the learners. But since we're talking about learners here, the learners need to to know how to manage their time, because there will be deadlines, and they are set in stone, because once the deadline has passed, there is a possibility that they can never submit an assignment anymore. And this is the reason why when we are dealing with students, when we're introducing them to online, they are new students or they are new to online education, we must have an orientation for them to learn how to study online. And time management is one of the things that is emphasized in online introduction to online learning. So they need to know how to meet the deadlines. How do you keep the deadlines and the timelines, and make sure that everything is in on time. And the last one, they have to be good in the face-to-face ones. They are good in time management. they have to be good, but in online, they have to be excellent in time management. The thing is that with the face-to-face, sometimes the students will come to us and say, oh, my uncle died, and can you give me another chance? I will submit tomorrow. I have so many things that I was working on. Can you please give me up to tomorrow, and so on. So it's easy to negotiate that with the lecturers sometimes. Okay. It's easy to negotiate that with the lecturer face-to-face than even online. And so these are some of the things that you'll find that will be different. For the common ground, we find learning strategies. We definitely have learning strategies that will work both in face-to-face and online, like time management definitely works in both. Every student is driven by success. They want to succeed, they want to pass, although some are interested more on the grade than learning, but hey, whatever it is, they want to succeed at what they want to get from their university. And the next is a career. Both online and face-to-face students, they are driven by career. They want to do something when they grow up, or those who are at the graduate level or postgraduate level, they want to improve themselves, maybe so that they can climb higher on the ladder of their employment. And so these three will find that it doesn't matter where you are, they are the same. Now on technology, we definitely, in a common ground, we need IT budget. Although it will be different, it will be lower for face-to-face, fully face-to-face university than those that have online education. They must have an IT plan, they must have IT personnel, and also the e-resources. I know that when it is a fully face-to-face traditional university, they may not invest as much in e-resources, but I would think that by now, CUE has already required that people have some electronic databases for books and journals. So what do we find here? In online education, we need to acquire technology and technical skills. Not only the computers and the internet that is there, but we need to know how to use them. While for face-to-face, sometimes there's limited technology and limited technical skills. I've been to some universities and in different countries, and not just one country, where you find if they have a university, they have all the plan for IT, but the internet, you click on a web page, it takes 2, 3, 4 minutes to open one page. And I've been to others where nothing will even open. That is possible with face-to-face national universities, but those who want to run online education, they must have that. More IT infrastructures for online education and less IT infrastructures. Generally, we're not saying that that's how it should be, but generally that's how it is. More databases for library, and we find more hard copies of materials for those heavily traditional universities. We have a strong internet connection when we want to offer online education, while for face-to-face or traditional universities, we have average internet connection. Generally, it's not a priority for those people. Now, looking at the interaction, it's a common ground that people will have student-student interaction, whether it's face-to-face or online. We want students to interact with each other, although in face-to-face we'll find that it's less. We want to have some kind of interaction between lecturer and student, and also the student must interact with the content. When it comes to online, the student needs to interact also with technology. So we have more interaction with technology when it comes to online education than we find in face-to-face classes. Just right before the lockdown and closing the borders of Kenya, the last couple of days before we closed our university here, I met one of our students who had come from the western part of Africa. I want to mention the country. And we had been communicating through email It's like he had come to know me, but we never met. And so he approached me and said, oh, I'm such and such, and I've been communicating with you, and so on and so on. And it's good to meet you. I just wanted to introduce myself to you before we leave, because now we're going to have your class 2 weeks from now, and so on. He's a doctoral student. This is a doctoral student who is actually a church leader, okay? And he tells me, he said, you know, we are really enjoying our learning, and we're learning a lot of things that we're really using. He said, but I have 2 challenges. I said, what are those? And he said, I'm really afraid when we start studying now from distance, because we're doing ERT, emergency remote teaching. He said, I just have challenges that I know I'm going to face. I said, what are they? He said, the first one is internet connection. It's really, really, really bad in our country. I said, well, in my mind, that is kind of understandable. He said, the second one, Prof, I am not good in writing and typing on the computer. So what I do, I always write everything by hand first. And then after that, I ask one of my children to type it for me. And this man is not that old. I would say if he's that old, he would be like 45, 46. He is not that old. I mean, if he was like 70 years old, I could understand. And I could not understand that with that age, computers have been around for some time now, that he does not know how to type on the computer. And eventually he took a class from me, and he was spending double the time other people were spending, because he would always write things by hand first and give things to his daughter, who would now type things for him. So if we want online education, we need to ask ourselves, do the faculty know actually to use technology, the technology that we want to use? If a number of them do not, we need to integrate that in the faculty orientation or faculty development. Same thing with the students. Our target students, do they even own a laptop? This is something that we are discussing a lot with CUE, and nobody seems to have a solution. Just last Friday, we had our latest meeting, a whole day, and we were working on a specific policy that has to do with this point, that there were some students, of course, who have been sent home, and all of a sudden they received a letter that tomorrow classes are going to resume from one of the universities in Nairobi, and the class will be online. The parents of this student, obviously was an undergraduate student, they didn't have a clue that for their child to study, that child will need a computer and internet connection. And so the class starts, and the student doesn't have a clue, knows what is happening. And he talks to the parents and says, I need a laptop and I need an internet connection. I mean, you're saying that on the first day of class. The parents who probably can't even afford a laptop, they probably don't have internet at home now. It has to be part of a daily budget, monthly budget of the family. And so these are decisions that have to be made. Sometimes we take it lightly, that we're focusing more on ourselves, on the faculty and the staff, that the students are also forgotten. There is more with student interaction online than we have face-to-face. And I had already explained that, although there's interaction in both settings, but we have more. Again, this is if the course is designed properly. Courses are open 24 hours a day for every week. And here for face-to-face, the courses are scheduled only 1 to 3 times a week. In most cases, it's once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week. And so we have an extremely limited time when it comes to teaching face-to-face. The last one, we have more electronic means of communication with the online, with technology, than we have face-to-face, meaning that we don't have a reason not to support our students constantly or regularly. Can you imagine a place, and I'm sure there are still universities like that in other parts of the world, where they don't have WhatsApp, they don't have internet. The only time they will talk to their lecturer is when they have class, the day they come to class. And right there, you see that there's a limited communication that is happening. The student will struggle for one whole week until the class meets next time. The next one is instructions. The common ground is that when we're writing instructions, whether it's face-to-face or online, we are writing them, making sure that they are going to help the students to meet the learning outcomes. And we try to make sure that these instructions will make the assignment, the assessment doable. I just remember when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I took a class on English literature, British English literature, and the lecturer was known to be the toughest, one of the toughest maybe in the whole country. And I remember him giving us an exam, 2 exams, maybe 2 or 3 questions at 8 a.m. And he told us, please submit by 5 p.m. We started writing. We never took lunch from 8. At 5, we went to his house. We begged him to extend the time because this was mission impossible. Well, it's not really, that's not what we expect from instructions. Instructions are there to help students do something that is doable. And of course, the instructions need to be sequenced in such a way that students can easily follow that and complete the assignments. In online education, when we're designing online courses, we want to make sure that the instructions are detailed, they are precise. Why? Because the students, we may never meet our students face to face. And when a student accesses your class at 1 a.m., you are sleeping, you don't have that time to receive a call from him or her so that you can explain things better. One of the things that I think many lecturers do, and this is up to you to decide whether this happens to you, is that we have general instructions. You'll find that somebody wants you to write a final paper, a research paper, and they'll have 1 paragraph for you to follow. And that's it. That's the only information you have. And then when you submit the paper, they tell you, oh, no, you should have also done this one. Oh, you should have also done that. Oh, no, you shouldn't have included this. Wait. If you had given detailed, precise information, how long it is, how many parts it should be, what kind of books I should cite, if you had given me that information, maybe in a bullet point, it would have been a lot easier for me to prepare the assignment properly. And so right there, again, looking at the mindset with the face-to-face and online, it makes a difference, because with face-to-face, we want to think ahead of the students. What will they need to be able to complete an assignment, a project, and a specific report? We need to think in a very detailed way so that they will prepare accordingly. And so when they read, they will be able to do, and whoever follows the instructions will be able to get it right. If students follow the same instructions you gave, and everybody really does it well in following, and yet they have different outcomes, different, one has 20 pages, the other one has 50 pages, the other one has 10 pages for the same report. Something is wrong with the instructions that we gave them. But you see, with face-to-face, we still have time where we tell them, oh, that one, yeah, you can just leave it to 15 pages if you had forgotten to write that in your course syllabus. The instructions are ready from day 1. Everything is designed before day 1 happens, while for face we continue making some instructions, creating new things, and the one that I dislike even the most is the lecturers who will add the new requirements to the class in the middle of the semester. I mean, that is an ethical practice, but it happens. It happens in certain universities. With online education, that's not going to happen, because from day 1, everything is already completely set. That's the reason why sometimes when people say, oh, no, I'll just move online, and my class is starting on Monday. We are Thursday. Oh, yeah, on Monday, it'll be already online. They actually do not know what they're doing, because you cannot just take a couple of days to have a fully online course. Basically, what they're doing, they're just going to upload those files that they use face-to-face and call it online class, and it is not an online course. Preferably sequential instructions. Again, you'll find that for face-to-face, many lecturers use general instructions, just one paragraph or two paragraphs for a project, and that's it. Research has proven that, and even the theories, the best practices, that when students study online, it's a lot easier for them to actually follow the instructions that are numbered. Number one, step 2, and please make sure you have 5 components. The first component should be this, and second one this, the third one this, and fourth one this. And so when it's sequenced like that, and personally, I have experienced this both as an online facilitator and an online student, it really makes a big difference, because then you are not going to miss anything. I have used the same strategies in teaching face-to-face in the last 10 years in 3-4 different countries, and I have discovered that it actually works also very well for face-to-face classes. Students, you'll find the students, they're not going to get confused. And when they submit things, you will not say, oh, no, you should have done it like this, or you should have done it like that. No, because it is clearly outlined. People, colleagues, when we give instructions to the students, we are not giving them to try to make their life hard. That is the colonial mentality that we're given 50, 60 years ago. What we do is to support learning. We need to design our courses, whether they are face-to-face or online, in a way that when students read the instructions, they will not have too many questions. Guess what? When they don't have many questions, you have more time for yourself. I remember the first time I ever prepared an online course, it was back in 2004. I was in the state of Arizona. I was finishing my first doctorate. And what happened is that I had gotten just a training of like 2, 3, 4 hours, just simple practical things. And so I went on to prepare, just using my common sense only, just common sense. And time came for the course to start. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Every single day, I received like 30 emails, students asking me, what do you want me to do on this one? What do you expect from this? And so on. It was frustrating. And I said, okay, if this is what online education is about, I don't want to be part of it anymore. I started seeing what I should have done. But because I didn't go through any training, I didn't know that I should have done that. My mind, my brain was still thinking from face to face that, I can explain things later on. But I went from that to now being at a level where I spend a semester, one whole course, and I receive like 3, 4, 5 maximum emails for one course. From having 30 or more emails every day to 5 or less emails for the whole semester for students who have questions about my online course. And so it can make a big difference when we have the training for online education. For online education, we need full disclosure of what is going to happen. We don't want to show up with the new requirements, course requirements that were not there before. From day one, students need to know how many book reports are they going to write? How many is there a final paper, or is it a final exam? How many points are we going to get from participating? And yes, although this is also expected from face-to-face teaching, but it's a requirement for online education. It is required. For face-to-face, people can sometimes get away with it, but for online education, quality online education, it must be there. We must fully disclose what is required for a student to pass the class, and keep that. Let's not change anything in the middle of the semester, or the deadlines, change the deadlines, or things like that. On the quality, this is the last point, and then I'll go to the teaching methods, and then we'll open to the discussions. The common ground is that as far as quality is concerned, it's possible for both online education and face-to-face. The critics, they will tell you, oh, no, quality online is less than face-to-face. Translation, the people who are doing that online, those who designed those online courses or those who are facilitating them, they have not been trained. They do not know how to do it well. But if you have received proper training, you have received proper guidance, and you have the proper support, the quality is as good as face-to-face, if not sometimes even better. Quality must be intentionally focused on. It should not be something that's optional. It should be required by the university. That's why you have quality assurance department in many universities now. And the quality must focus on learning outcomes, and check with the students if they are able to do what they were supposed to do by taking the course. Of course, some will say, this has to be done through the exams, final exams, and others, especially for online education, exams are not the best way or the only way to prove that, but things that are more meaningful activities where the students can link with what they link things to their life, their future career, maybe a much better way. So for online education, quality, to evaluate the quality or to enhance or foster quality is much more complex. Because with face-to-face, you teach and they can count your hours and the students, and that's it. But for online education, not only do we count we check how the courses were designed, we need to check the technology that is proper, it is not frustrating to the students. We need to make sure the library has the proper resources that are accessible online. We need to make sure that the students have support. We need to make sure that the faculty have support, technical support, and support also with the library. So there's a lot more complex with the online education. But this, to me, is when you are able to meet all this, you are able to provide actually better quality than even face-to-face. Here on quality for face-to-face, we are focused more on student performance. Did they all get A's? Most of them, did they get A's? Did we get 50% fail? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Some universities or even some countries here on the continent, you are known as a good professor or great professor by the number of students who are failing your class. I mean, something is right there. It's wrong. I'm not saying that we should give free points to students, definitely not. That is against biblical principles, that's cheating. But I'm saying that we should support students so well that they should do well, not to make it so hard for them that people take pleasure in their failure. For quality, we need guidelines. Guidelines must be clearly developed for the design and the delivery of online courses. There must be a standard. There must be templates that everybody is abiding with. When a student takes my class and then they take another class from the same program, they should feel the same structure flowing through all the courses. This, according to the literature, it reduces actually the cognitive load of the student because they know exactly where everything is. They more or less have an idea what to expect, so that it's not like they're taking a new class and it's like he's coming from another university. It's the same university because the university is following the same guidelines. In one class, they're not going to say, okay, you have to post at least 10 times a week. And then the other course in the same university, you need to post at least 50 times. That is not right. It has to be the same standard that they are following. In face-to-face, guess what? The guidelines already exist. So they don't have to create that. But the ODEL department will definitely have to design the guidelines that are going to lead the face-to-face. The best practices must be learned. We do not expect people to just switch online and just do whatever they want. If we want quality online education, they will need to have trainings, webinars, seminars, or even take certification courses like the ones I'm going to share with you very soon, so that people are properly trained. Trust me from experience, when you have the training, the guidance, it makes a big difference. And you find more students actually coming. When there is no training, there's no orientation, you can expect frustration from the students, and as a result, you can expect dropout from students. For face-to-face, more or less everybody has ideas of what should be in teaching. So, we don't really spend too much time there, although it is still important for us from time to time to have some refresher on some of the things. We must have strong inclusion of technology for online education, while for face-to-face, it's average, usually, because they have many other things that they have to deal with that don't have to be dealt with for online education. So, with this, let me wrap up with the best online teaching practices. I think I have prepared, 10 of them here. This is not the full list. These are some of my favorite ones. Number one, you need to know how students learn online. When students are studying online, they study differently from face-to-face. Most of the students, especially those who choose to study online instead of face-to-face, they're busy people. And so they want things that are clear, straight to the point, things that they can apply to their career or their future, things they need to manage their time. They don't have time to waste. And so how do they learn? What kind of materials do they enjoy? And so on. We need to learn that. You need to be well prepared so that if a student asks a question, you're not going to spend 5 days trying to find the answer. You know already the answer. Even if it's a course you did not design, you need to actually spend maybe a couple of weeks reading what is in that class, so that you know what the course is about. You need to know how things are flowing there. If it's a course you designed 3 years ago and you have not taught it again, try to see the flow, the instructions. Are they suitable for the course and meeting the needs of the students? You need to provide cognitive, emotional, and technical support. The cognitive one, how do you show that you are supporting your students? When you're giving feedback, when you're responding to students' postings, you need to add value to what they are saying. You need to continue dropping some new ideas there. Maybe a student has posted something that is erroneous. You should be in the forum, on the discussions. You need to be able to get back to the student and say, listen, this one actually is not like this, and it's like this and this and this. Sometimes you may be sharing an article that you had come across, and you feel like, oh, students need this. It was not in the course that was designed, but it is needed right now, this week, in this specific module. You can share that. So that's how we show the cognitive support. We have the emotional support. Some students will write to you and say, listen, my child is sick. I'm sorry, can I have 2 more days to submit this specific assignment? We have to be human, just like face-to-face. When we say, when a student comes to us and tells us that, we don't say, no, you're always lazy and that's it. We say, something like this. It would be something, an email like, I'm sorry to hear about the sickness, and I pray, since we are all Christian, or most of us on this platform, I pray that God will heal you. Guess what? That is emotional and spiritual support right there. And sometimes you may actually intentionally, as a facilitator, you may intentionally say, I want you to know that this morning at 6 a.m., this morning at noon, this morning at, today at noon, or this evening, I prayed for you, and I believe, I firmly believe that God is going to heal you. One of the things that I do because I've been teaching more in Christian schools than public schools. In my online courses, all my online courses, I always have a section called praises and prayer requests. So there I tell students, you can post a praise there, is something you want to praise God for, or you can post a prayer request if you want us to pray for you. And so whenever I see a student has posted something there, I go and post something. I write something that I would have told them if I was talking to them face to face. And you find others, the classmates also commenting on that, providing that spiritual support and emotional support when it is posted there. So this is, to me, is one of the best practices. I've seen this becoming a blessing to my online students. It is true that the last one, the technical support, it's not your job per se to provide technical support, but sometimes it is something that's so simple that you don't want students waiting for the technical support. Sometimes students may send an email to technical support and it takes a couple of days for the technical support to get back, which it shouldn't be, but sometimes it happens. So if you see that a student has emailed you 5 minutes ago, and they say, okay, listen, I'm trying to upload my assignment, but I don't know how to upload that. You know, that is something that you know. You don't have to say, okay, please go to the IT to do that. Maybe you have even a video clip on YouTube that you can just copy the link then put in the email and respond to the student. And that student, within 5 minutes, they get a response from you. Within 30 minutes, they get a response from you instead of waiting one whole day. Guess what? That will be already a blessing to that student. And you'll find the students, I love taking classes from a professor or Dr. such and such or Madam or Mr. such and such, because he or she is supportive. You send a message and you get support from them. Of course, if it is something that you don't know how, or there's a technical issue that you don't know how to solve, it is good to always encourage students to get help from the technical support. We need to give timely and constructive feedback. I had a colleague in the Philippines from a different department, very brilliant man from India, brilliant man. I mean, he's really, really brilliant. But his problem was, for each course, he will have like 30 case studies, one final paper, a midterm exam, a final exam, team presentations, and many more, just one course. And then students will tell me the first time we receive any feedback is like 3 months after the course is over. So right there, what is the point of giving so many things to the students if you don't give timely feedback? Because the feedback is supposed to help students to actually do well. And so if we want them to continuously improve, we need to give feedback on time. One of my best, my personal philosophy on this is that my students should never, if, for example, I have 5 case studies in my online course, they should not get to the level of submitting the next case study before I give the feedback of the previous one. And so in most of all the courses I've taught, we have one module for course for every week. So each course is like 8 modules or 10 modules. So for that class, I'll have 8 weeks. So for each week, I'll make sure that if the week starts Monday to Friday, before the following Monday, that all my feedback is already returned, so that by Monday morning, when students are working on the things for that week, they have already received feedback from the previous week. And so they will not commit the same mistakes that they made in the previous week. And this is how you get quality to be improved for the students who are seriously reading the feedback that you are giving them. You need to preempt student difficulties. Think ahead of the students before they get to a specific week and the assignments that are due there. Read the assignments there. Read the instructions. Is it clear? If it was you having to deal with that assignment, could you have succeeded? Or could you have needed more instructions, more guidance? If you would have needed more guidance, then write those instructions right there. You need to have a regular interaction with students. When a student sends you an email, bottom line, I think mentioned this in my book. Bottom line, don't spend more than 12 hours before you email back the student. Because when the student decides to email you, it's because he or she is already frustrated. So you can imagine if the student is frustrated for 3-4 days, they have sent you an email and you have not responded. They sent you a WhatsApp message and you have not responded for 2, 3, 4 days. You can imagine the level of frustration that they have. We need to have regular interaction. Same thing with online discussions, the forum discussions. We need to be involved there so that they can feel we are there. If you can just say, okay, I'm going to make sure I post one posting or 2 postings every day of the week, guess what? The students will feel, oh, this fellow is around every day. And that makes them get serious with your class because they know that you are there, you are not hiding. Plus, when, let's see, you need to use the grading rubrics for all the non-objective assessments. Quizzes, multiple choice, true and false, there's no problem with that. But how do you grade your final paper, your final project? How are people going to get 50 points for that? You need to break it down. This part will be 10 points. This part will be 5 points. This one will be 20 points. The moment I started using this, I think I started using rubrics, I would say somewhere in 2008. I don't deal with arguments with students anymore. I used to have arguments from students. No, I think I should have gotten 85%, not 78%. And you really have problems if you don't have a grading rubric. It is hard for you to convince that student. But if you had that grading rubric with the breakdown, exactly how you're going to grade, chances are you will not have too many arguments from the students because you can easily show where they went wrong. For the forum discussion, you need to participate there regularly so that the students know that you are there. I have heard of some lecturers who show up on the first day to welcome the students, post a message, welcome everyone, I'm glad to have you here. And then the next time they show up is like 2-3 weeks later on in the middle of the course, and then the last week. That is not online teaching. It's like somebody who's teaching face-to-face class where they're supposed to meet every three times a week. The lecturer will show on the first day and never show up again until the last week of the class. That we don't accept that in face-to-face. We shouldn't accept that for online teaching. We need close monitoring of student performance. We don't wait until almost the end of the semester to discover that a student has been failing. I would say after you have graded everything that is due in a week, it's nice to just go to that grade book in your LMS and look at how people are performing. And if you see any trend that is starting developing with a specific student, send them a personal private message or email and say, listen, I'm concerned. I see that in the last couple of weeks, you have not been doing well. May I know what is happening? And is there a way I can support you better? So because I know you can do it. I know you can do better than that. Is there something that is happening that I should be aware of? And when you send this personal email, it's not an email to accuse or condemn the student and say, you are stupid, you are always like that, you're careless, you will fail, you'll see, you'll fail. No, it's a letter.
I hope you're still there. I don't know if, we seem to have lost Prof.
The word that.
Okay. I think he's trying to rejoin.
That.
Please let's keep our mics on mute. Let's allow him a minute to rejoin. I can see he has already left. I hope you can hear me so that we are sure that it is him we are not able to hear. Okay, let's allow him a minute. He'll be back. As we wait, please let's keep our questions coming. He will respond to them at the end of the session. And those we are not able to address now, we will be sure that he helps us and guides us on those ones, and we will make the responses available as we share the materials of this training. Thank you. Okay, as we wait for Prof to rejoin, kindly allow me to talk about the evaluation form that we had provided. It was meant to be a pre-training evaluation form. It was circulated last evening, but as of this morning, we did receive information that it is not opening. So we apologize for that, and we are looking into it, and as soon as we have it ready, we will be recirculating it, and we kindly request you to assist us with those responses. We do this again next Thursday. Next Thursday, we will still have another session with Professor Safary Mbaleka at 2 o'clock. Next Thursday at 2 o'clock, and we will be covering online assessments. So therefore, again, we request that you block your diary to pave way for that webinar. And that will also be very timely, seeing that we are at a season where we are providing cuts to our students. So please get ready, and the link for joining the webinar will be provided in due course. We are hopeful that by then we will have provided the evaluation form so that you can fill it before the webinar. Then the other thing also is today we did have a training, a demo for the big blue button and uploading of cards for the faculty of theology lecturers. Again, we apologize. We were forced to, actually it was Faculty of Social Sciences. We apologize once again because we were forced to cancel that as it was overlapping with this webinar. So we did cancel that to pave way for this webinar. We kindly request members of that faculty to join tomorrow's demo for the same. So we will be able to facilitate that tomorrow. Thank you. Allow me to look for Prof. Please keep your questions coming. Okay, he's coming back. So what time will the demo be? The demo will be at 11:30. 11:30 to 1 o'clock tomorrow. The links have already been circulated. So they're available on your email. Please just click on the one for tomorrow and you will be able to join us. Good. So I can see good feedback. I can see the summary from Dr. Ndavula. Well done. You're following closely. Perfect. So we'll pick all these issues and they will be addressed towards the end of our webinar today. As we wait for Prof to come back, perhaps we can, Joseph, have you been sent to has the link been sent to the FOSS group? Yes, through the heads of departments and the Dean's office. These have already been shared with them, so they should be able to share those with you. But in case you did not receive, feel free to get in touch with us and we will be able to forward the same to you. Perhaps as we wait for Prof, we can do our own housekeeping matters with regards to some of the things he has talked about. And one of those that I picked is a provision of coursework feedback. That is a major issue, and this has been even with the traditional face-to-face, rather the traditional distance learning students. This has always an issue that our students have always raised, the fact that it even gets to the examinations period and they go to write the examinations without receiving feedback on their cards. So I am sure today we have learned that this is a crucial part of the learning process. So that is an area, colleagues, we need to improve on, as well as responding to emails. I think that everyone is online this semester. Kindly let us mute our mics. Seeing that everyone is online this semester, again, we are called to fast track our response to emails to students so as to reduce the frustration levels. And remember, some of our students also are struggling as far as issues to do with internet connectivity is concerned. Some have to climb on top of trees to access internet or even network to make a phone call. So when the response is not fast coming, it becomes very frustrating. And the subsequent action usually would be the student's preference to defer the semester, and they cite those kind of challenges. So again, we are called to that. Grading rubrics, that's a sort of new to some of us. We did formulate a grading rubric for use for the open book examinations last semester. A few of you were able to use it. And like he has explained, it is what helps us because it becomes a reference point to argue our case in terms of how our marks are awarded. Because that rubric sort of helps us to redistribute marks accordingly. And therefore, it is a good tool to use. Let's embrace it. Again, it was circulated to the heads of departments and the deans. Let's use it to better the process of awarding marks for our students. So that's something we need to adopt and adapt and continue to use. We are also in the process of ensuring that we are closing all gaps that are there on matters online education, because as a university, we are keen on preparing ourselves for a visit from the Commission for University Education. I don't know if Professor Mbaleka will mention this, but the Commission seems to be getting ready to come and audit the teaching and learning that has taken place since the closure of the universities from March. So they have been putting something together that will inform the audits that will come after universities reopen. So they'll be keen to check how have we been doing it. And therefore, that is why we have been very particular on the fact that the use of our learner management system, the V-learning and the e-learning portals, are our central and primary technologies, and therefore all teaching and learning activities should take place there. That way, we at least have a central place where we can refer to in case we need to make reference to something or check something. So they're really getting ready, and Professor Mbaleka is part of that team, and they are getting things ready so that that audit takes place as soon as we reopen. So please, let's ensure that in our classrooms, that quality component is being enhanced so that we are accountable for the learning, the teaching that we are giving to our students. Let's also ensure that our students are kept motivated and inspired to play their role in this online environment. If it is discussions and forums, there is a particular tool that is very, very interesting to use, the restricting access. As we are training on the big blue button, Edwin will be keen to show us how that works. Let us restrict access to students. It is the only tool we have in our hands right now to ensure that there is some form of class attendance. That is the only way we are able to enforce class attendance. So let us lock our activities so that when students need to proceed to the next activity, they first of all attend to certain activities. That way then we will ensure that they are present online. I have seen a comment from Madam Kibandi, and she says that Prof is back. Professor Mbaleka, are you back now?
I am, and I had no idea I was disconnected. How long ago was that?
Not to worry, you are on point number 9.
Okay.
Point number 9, and we welcome you back. We were just trying to bridge the gap while you were away.
All right, all right.
All right.
Point number 9 of what?
Close monitoring of students' performance. We were on the best online teaching practices.
Okay. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
It's okay. It's
all
technology.
Right. That's technology. Next time, I think we're going to use Zoom, because with Zoom, I will know immediately that it's out. Can I go ahead and take another 5 minutes for that part then?
No problem.
All right. I apologize for that. Let's see if we can get this. Okay. Can we see that?
Yes, we can.
All right. So let's go to...
Yes, I can see that.
Thank you so much. So this is where I was when I was disconnected?
Yes, yes, that is where you are.
Okay, then. So I was saying on this one that we need to have a close monitoring of students, student performance, that we need to be able to catch them early on if they are struggling, so that we can encourage them, we can see how we can support them. We don't wait until the end of the semester and discover 2 weeks before the class is over to discover that the student had been failing, and now they are out of being saved from this situation. And one thing I said, but I don't know if it was after or what, was that as Christian educators, this is where you actually reach out to the student and let them know that you really care, and that you want to know how you can support them even better. And if they tell you they have been sick, you can actually set up specific time to pray for that student and let them know you are praying for them. The last one was the use of course evaluation to improve. That at the end of the class, usually it's a common practice in most universities that students are going to evaluate us. It is important for us to read these materials. We need to read and actually apply what we have been learning. I mean, what we learned from the course evaluation, because students take time to actually fill those forms up, even if it's electronic form. It takes time. And so when we are using this, we are able to see the areas where we have been struggling and how we can improve. So every year we get to improve because we are taking seriously the input that the students are giving. Now, I was talking about these resources, and then the conclusion after that, that we have a certification program that's starting on Monday. We have each certificate has 2 classes, and each class is 10 to 12 hours of work. And this information is available if you want to join us. I think some of you are joining. We have a certificate on Foundation of Online Education. If you just want to have the overview of everything, the first one will be the one, but we have a specialized ones, one in instructional design, how to design online classes, one on online teaching, one on leadership for those who are like department heads. How do you make sure you are providing the best support system for your online students? We have online student services and integration of faith and learning for online education. This is for Christian institutions like us. How do we integrate the Christian values, Christian principles, biblical principles in our courses so that a student who comes to our Christian institution, when they graduate, they will have espoused the Christian values or the biblical values. The other thing I was sharing with you was the Global Conference on Online Education that will be on August 10 to 12. We have experts coming from many different countries, from Asia, Europe, US, Africa, who will be our plenary speakers. You can go to that website, centerrip.org, and you'll be able to see what is happening there. You can attend as just a delegate who's just going to listen to people, or you can also present, which is something that is expected from us as university lecturers. And so if you have been teaching online, or you want to challenge yourself to actually dig deeper on a certain topic, best practices, the theme is best practices of online education, you can present on that. And the good thing is that it's in Nairobi, but it will be virtual. So you don't even have to leave your house. You will attend it virtually. The other thing is the Online Educators Platform. This is a Facebook group that I'm monitoring every day. I created it just 2 months ago. And every day I post resources there. I post a 2 to 3 minutes video clip every day on a specific topic, very practical as for online teaching. This one is free. When you join, you don't even have to pay anything, but every day you can hear me just for a couple minutes, just quick information. This is the book that was mentioned earlier that I launched.
Okay, I see Prof's screen is frozen again. Okay, since I can see Monica moving, then at least I'm sure I can be heard. So I'm sure Prof will get a way of coming back.
Yes, we can hear you, Grace, but we can't hear him, or at least I can't.
Oh, me too. Okay. But I'm sure he was just winding up. He was just giving us some extra information. So let's again wait for him to come back. Technology has a mind of its own. So that is exactly what our students also experience when we are trying to have these real-time sessions with them, and they cannot hear us, they cannot see us. You can sense the frustration on their end, and probably it is Mr. Robert Abayo who is in the middle of doing a QT sum. You can imagine that is how it is. But anyway, it's part of that is part of.
Yeah, Grace, can you hear me? This is Professor Kenya.
Yes, I can, Prof. I can.
Yeah, please, tomorrow you said the training will begin at what time?
The training tomorrow is at 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Edwin, if
11:30 to 1 o'clock.
yes. Edwin is here with us, and
Okay.
Edwin, if possible, you can even provide that link here so that those interested can actually save it up for tomorrow in case they've not been able to open their emails. So yeah, at 11:30 tomorrow. But as we wait for Prof to come, please someone let me know when you see him back. Just a few things to encourage us. We have so far done very, very well. We have what I would consider hallmark achievements as far as capacity building engagements concerned and Odell. We are at the 60th in-house training for both faculty and students. And we have managed to train in various aspects for all university, not all actually, but university staff who are involved in the teaching activities. So 60 really is quite something. This week we are in what we are calling cycle 3 of training, and this is when we are focusing on the big blue button and the administration of cards. The big blue button is a video conferencing tool. It is in-house. It is our own in-house innovation. The big blue button has been integrated with the e-learning and the V-learning portal. It is what we are now encouraging you to use in place of Zoom and this kind of meetings, the Google Meets. The reason why we are requesting that we use that, it is because it is embedded in our learner management systems. And therefore, when you set a class there, we see it as an activity on our learner management system, which is a good thing. We have also received a lot of feedback concerning this tool, a lot of success, but a few people who also reported a few challenges. But we have received that feedback, and the ICT team led by Karen, who is also here, are assisting with addressing some of those issues. A lot of what we have observed also has to do with the skills and competencies in terms of using it well. And that is why this week we are running those demos to bridge that gap. So after this week, we are hoping that you'll be able to use it a bit more seamless together with your students, because we are also training them. And if you have any challenges, please feel free to contact us and let us know which challenge you're experiencing, because it will help us to better the tool. We wish to use that tool. Where the
Sorry,
tool...
Grace.
Yes.
This Dr. Amoyo.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the challenge I'm having mainly is with these students. Though I do communicate, they seem to still want you to communicate in other means to alert them that there is something you are posted. So I think they need to be communicated to that I have tried to let them know that actually that is the platform and they need to go there so that I know what challenges they are facing. But they still want you to tell them somewhere else you are posted. And that's what I'm avoiding, because they need to face the challenge of going online. Sorry, I see Professor is back.
All right. Okay, we'll come back to that. Professor, you're welcome. We are sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know how far I went this time. I have just gone through that twice.
No, we were at the book.
Okay. All right. So I think at this point, we just take the comments and the questions, because we're running out of time, so that we have time for people to speak. What do you think?
Okay, that is okay. But I'm sure you can talk about the book in 30 seconds.
Okay, I don't know how much was mentioned there.
You were just beginning to show us the title.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah,
the book is ready. It was launched 10 days ago. It's not available on paper base yet. It is electronic. You can access it on my website. And unfortunately, it's not here at this point. Let me see. I think I could do this, and just I will not have a full screen. I will just have it like that. Can you see my email address there and the website?
yes, we
Should
can.
be my Okay, very good. I'll just leave it like that. That way we don't have to deal with this anymore.
Okay.
Okay, let me just do it like that. So you can get it from myresearchcorner.com if you want the PDF format. But I was saying that now the book is also accessible on Kindle since last night. It was just made available on Kindle Reader last night. So if you want, if you use Kindle on your phone or your computer or your iPad, you can just go to Amazon and you will be able to get it within 2 minutes. You will have it delivered online on your gadget. And I think that's about it for now. Let's take questions and comments.
Thank you very much, Professor Mbaleka, for that wonderful and very, very elaborate session. Indeed, we have learned a lot. Every day is a learning day.
Mm.
And we can confirm that indeed a lot has been learned by my colleagues today and myself as well. We are truly grateful.
Praise God.
Allah,
Praise God.
Amen. Allow me not to put my video on. I'm also scared of running into these fluctuations. And I think at this point also, you may feel free to put it off if it's giving you lots of trouble.
Okay, I'll do that.
Please allow me to just do the audio, just so that I'm also not pushed out.
Sure.
Good. All right. So we have had a bit of housekeeping issues here and there that we were trying to address. A lot that has come out of what you have presented to us today. And some of what we were talking about while you were away is the use of this grading rubric. We do have one in place that we are encouraging each other to continue usage. Capacity building, I was telling my colleagues that we've done so well because so far we have recorded the 60 in-house trainings for various aspects within the university.
Very good.
And of course, we are crowning those with such moments with keynote speakers like you who are very articulate in the area. Issues to do with accessibility to a computer, that has been a major issue that our students were also raising. Luckily for us, we have been very innovative about it, and we do have mobile phone applications that are available on the Google Play Store that students can use to access our learner management systems. So at least with a mobile phone that costs them at least 5,000 shillings, a smartphone, they should be able to go to the learner management systems.
May I just ask a question on that one? Do you find it also working with the master's and doctoral students? Because I would expect them to be writing papers and things. How has been your experience with that?
Masters and doctorate students. Well, the thing is, we may not have been able to test that conclusively because for distance learning, which we have been learning for a long time, we have very few master's programs and very few master's students. It is only this semester that we now have everyone on board, and hopefully we shall be able to collect that kind of feedback as time goes, because now everyone is on board. It's an interesting area to look out for. Yeah.
Okay.
The other take home for me is the pray and praise section. That's what you called it. Yes, that's a good one. Yes, that's a good one, where the lecturer is the priest in their class, in their virtual classroom. That's a very good one. Though as a university, we have made the online services a reality every day, and we are able to join them from where we are.
Okay.
Good. Because time has... Okay.
I see that there is a question here from Bildad Mburu Bagara. What is your advice to lecturers when you are preparing teaching materials for the first time, especially when the semester is already in progress? I realize this is not ideal, but it could happen. Actually, this is what is known as emergency remote teaching. That's what is happening around the world right now. So, and I want to make this very clear. I addressed this at the Association of African Universities webinar, that what we are doing today, when you are told you have 3-4 days to migrate online because now the campus is closed and for lockdown and things like that, let's not call that online education, because it's not. It's emergency remote teaching. We all understand that it's an emergency modality. That means it does not meet all the expectation of fully online courses. So what we did in our university here at Adventist University of Africa, we got together, we created an instructional contingency plan team, where we said, okay, how can we move within the next day, 10 days, we had 10 days to migrate. What can we do? What is the minimum to complete the courses we were designing? I mean, we had already scheduled to teach face-to-face. What can we do so that we can still deliver the same content, but we are not expecting everyone to design a full online course, because theoretically that's 100 hours, clock hours for one course. We don't have that time. So what are the bare minimum? We are going to use the Zoom, that's what we're using, platform, and think for you, you're using Google Meet. What can we do? And so we came up with the basics that we want to see there. But this is not the standard for all our fully online courses. Our fully online courses, we really want a lot more than what is happening. And so I hope that is what you are doing also, like you keep it as emergency remote teaching, that you have just basic things to do, not a complete online courses, because if you want to go fully online, it's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. We don't have enough time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Just two quick ones. One, what would we say to people who feel that online teaching is too much work and it's too difficult? Then the second one, how about lecturers who schedule for a real-time session, a synchronous session, and because it's been timetabled for 3 hours, then they are online for 3 hours waiting for their students and none shows up? What would be your responses, Prof?
Woo, those are the difficult ones. Let's go back to the first one. Online teaching online is too difficult. There was another one. There was a difficult, and the other one was what?
It's too much work. It is too much work, and it's too difficult.
It's too much work. Yeah. It's too much work. On the too much work, on the too difficult, it is difficult if you have not been trained. And this is the reason why we started these certification courses, because if you have not been trained, it will really be difficult, because you are going to try to use it from common sense. And when you do it only based on common sense, I'm not saying that common sense is bad, but it's not enough. When you do it only from common sense, you'll experience what I experienced in Arizona, where I would receive 30 emails a day, students asking me questions. You don't want that. But the other point of being too much work, this is where the administration must come in. And this is the reason why we have the certification for online education leaders. Because if the administrators do not understand how much work is involved in, you will be required to design an online course, and yet you have the same teaching load. Nothing has been changed. Here is what is the best practices. If I want, like here, we have asked some of our colleagues to design courses. We have two ways we have dealt with that. One is to pay for every course that they design, extra cash for that. And I'm not going to tell you how much you need to pay there. That is internally something acceptable within your university. So that when they are designing these courses, it is extra work that they're doing. It's not part of their regular load. If we don't want to pay, then every course that somebody designs fully online should be deloaded one course in teaching online. In teaching, excuse me. So if somebody has to teach 6 courses a year, that is a common thing for masters and PhD programs in many different countries. So if you are scheduled to teach 6 courses a year, and we don't want to pay you to design. So if I design 1 course, then I should teach only 5 that year. If I design 3 courses, I should only teach 3 courses, because then one equivalent to the design and the delivery should be the same. The other thing that we have done here, and I've seen it also in many other universities, when we know that faculty are very, very busy, they don't have time, we outsource and get adjunct faculty to design courses for us. So that we are not overwhelmed with the work, because adjuncts, we're going to pay them. And so we don't have to worry about the load of the faculty, because we have other people, experts also in the field, of course, experts in the field. We have the standards. We even give, like in our case here, they go also through our training. We don't just ask people to design. They have to go through our training so that they know our standard, they know our best practices. And so what we have done, we have combined the two. Some of the courses are designed by us, and others are designed by the adjuncts who are willing to spare a few extra hours to do that. Now, on the next question, you have students who have to show up for the Zoom, for the live session, and 50% of them show up, or nobody shows up. That is something we have not experienced. And I think it's because for us, we are dealing only with the master's and doctoral students. All our students, I would say 90 to 100% show up every single session. And, excuse me. And the other thing that we talked about in our instructional contingency plan was to avoid the long sessions, very long sessions. Like in my case, the class that I taught 2 months ago, I had only 2 hours a day, 2 hours for 10 days, 2 hours a day. So that was 20 hours. And then the other 50% of the class was done online. I had class discussions. And part of it, and this is my personal opinion, part of it is because students would have to spend a lot of money to be live, to run the live session. While for the online, through the learning management, they can just get the materials and disconnect while they are reading, which is something they cannot do when they are in the live session. And so I would say make the sessions shorter and consider having more online activities so that they will be there. I think that is an issue more with the undergraduate students than graduate students.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for those wonderful responses. Good. I think, colleagues, we have come to the end. And thank you very much, Professor Safary Mbaleka, for devoting these 2 hours to the St. Paul's University community amidst your very, very busy schedule. We really appreciate that you found time to be part of this engagement today.
Thank you so much. It's been a great privilege and a joy to be with my colleagues of this university.
Thank you. We are looking forward to also having you next week, Thursday at 2 o'clock for online assessments. And yes, you can be sure that all of us will be here waiting for you. I have a request, Professor, so that we do not overshoot our time, that we pick all these questions on the chat section. We send them to you to provide us with responses that can be shared to all the participants as we share the materials for this webinar.
Sure, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Colleagues, I want us to end. And yes, we will compile all these questions, share with Professor, who will give us responses, and then we will share with all the participants as we share the other webinar materials with you.
Sure.
Please let me request Trophy to move a vote of thanks for just 30 seconds and then hand over to Dr. Giduku, who will close the session for us with a word of prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Grace. Dr. Safary, words fail us to adequately express our gratitude, but receive our Kiswahili one that says, Asante, asante sana. You have freely shared your expansive and deep insight into online teaching and shared it with us. And we are very, very grateful. May God richly bless you for your excellent sharing and presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you too.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this immediate session we have had with our facilitator. Thank you for the eye-opening things that we have heard concerning distance learning. And thank you, and bless him for his ability to articulate the challenges that we face, we and our students. Heavenly Father, for the rest of the day, hold our hands, guide our feet as we continue with the activities before us. This is a prayer of faith through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon ahead.
You too. Thank you.
I want to say that.